So starting with the heat transfer introduction. So heat is the form of thermal energy in transit. Transit means in movement, like energy is moving, and the driving force which we say is the dt. So in electrical analogy, the movement is happening of electrons due to the potential V, resistance is R, and the driving is current. The driving is potential, the effect is current, and R is the resistance. Over here also there will be resistance due to the body. This is the driving thing, delta T, and heat is the result, that is the movement, which is analogous to I, current. So energy stored or stationary is same as the potential energy or the internal energy, and then heat transfer is driven by dt, that is temperature gradient or temperature difference only. We should have temperature difference for movement of energy. And heat transfer occurs at surface of body. So any body, this may be a solid body or a layer of liquid, but the heat transfer occurs between this surface and another body's surface, and process between two equilibrium states. And how is the heat transfer done? These two things are studied by thermodynamics. So thermodynamics spells that how is heat transfer happening, how slow or fast heat transfer will happen, the rate of heat transfer, that means, and the temperature difference due to heat transfer, that at each stage of cooling or heating of my body, so this is a body, at each stage of cooling or heating, when the body is not in equilibrium, what will be the temperature distribution in the body, that will be given by heat transfer. So heat transfer is also required for designing of equipments like radiator, cooling tower of my nuclear power plant, etc. And this process will give us the parameters of these equipments, such as geometry of equipment, thickness, area, the cross section, etc. Material required for equipment, because I can say how much is the maximum temperature and then I can choose what the material is. Color, maybe because of radiation heat transfer it depends on the color of surface, so those things we can figure out. Then there is this schematic. So the heat transfer will occur between system and surrounding, and the energy interactions occur due to there is a work by system or by surrounding on the other part, or there is heat transfer between the system and surrounding. And these are the surface phenomena that is occurs at the boundary of the system. We are not studying anything about what's happening inside the system. Due to some changes in the system, there is some changes at the surface. And then heat transfer requires the knowledge of thermodynamics and its laws. We cannot study heat transfer without having knowledge of thermodynamics. And then heat transfer requires thermodynamic non-equilibrium. That's what, like, if it is in equilibrium, we have temperature balance and the heat transfer will not occur. There is no change, work or heat movement. So it's basically being in non-equilibrium, then only we'll have heat transfer. That is, heat transfer is inherently a non-equilibrium process. And one good term important for interview is microchannel heat exchanger, MHE. This is very hot term about the research. So there are three modes of heat transfer. First is conduction, second is convection, third is radiation. Conduction requires a difference in temperature, dt. This also requires a difference in temperature, but this will occur. The radiation heat transfer can occur at all the temperature greater than 0 Kelvin or absolute 0. And conduction happens between a stationary medium. So whatever, this may be a solid, liquid or gas, but this should be a stationary medium. There should not be any movement inside this, between these two surfaces. These two are the boundaries. Some at temperature T1, T2, this should be different and there will be heat transfer. But we require medium for conduction, we require medium for convection also, but radiation does not require any medium, so it could be vacuum over here also, and then also we can have radiation heat transfer. And for conduction we required a stationary medium. For convection this should be a moving medium. There should be some movement relative to the surface, and there should be no bulk motion or macro motion. And over here we need a motion between the surface and the medium of heat transfer. And for gas we are saying this as a diffusion, and for solid and liquid we will say it as a conduction. So this conduction is happening between atoms and electrons, and for metals the electron movement is happening, so the heat transfer will occur by movement of electron. But for non-metals, the heat is transferred by waves, which are said as lattice waves, like in the absence of free electrons for insulators maybe. So the basic law for heat transfer is Newton's law, Fourier's law, which states that the conduction heat flux is directly proportional to the temperature gradient, negative of the temperature gradient, because this temperature gradient is negative. So that's what, and this is the total heat rate, and this is the flux. So flux is energy transfer upon area, and the heat rate is same as this. So we use a dot on the Q. So this is rate of heat transfer, this is the flux, and this is the area. This is the cross section area from which the heat transfer is occurring. And the K is the material property constant, which is said as thermal conductivity, and depends on the material properties. Going into convection, so bulk motion must happen, as I said earlier, and it is defined by Newton's law of cooling. It says that the flux is directly proportional to the difference between the bulk temperature of the fluid and the surface temperature. And convection obviously inherently takes diffusion or the conduction part of heat transfer. Along with it we have advection, which means bulk motion of fluid and the energy transfer due to that bulk motion. So because of this reason, whenever we want to study about convection, we should study the velocity part or the movement part along with the temperature changes. So for studying the temperature changes, we require the study of velocities also. And then we have thermal boundary layer formation because of the movement of the fluid, and depends on the viscosity of the fluid. The thermal boundary layer and the viscous boundary layer are two different boundary layers, and the thermal boundary layer thickness can be less than equal to or approximately equal to the viscous boundary layer thickness. And the diffusion is the random motion if it dominates near the surface where the velocity is low, because the viscosity is more near the surface, and as we go up the viscosity penetrates inside the bulk motion. And there are two types of convection, free convection and we have forced convection. So forced convection we require some external means. Free convection happens because of buoyancy forces only, that is difference in density. So for free convection the major forces into action are gravity, which is same as buoyancy, which happens because of density difference, and the drag force because of the other particles. And here we have this all forces, along with it we have external force also. Free convection is defined using Reynolds number. Free convection is defined using Prandtl number, and forced convection is defined using Reynolds number. Both Reynolds number are also defined for free convection part, but this ratios of force due to buoyancy divided by the drag force or the viscous force defines the extent of free convection, and the ratio of inertia force to the viscous force defines the extent of forced convection. The radiation, it happens in all matter, and it is the radiation, that is the emission of thermal energy, or the radiation, mostly the thermal radiations are in the part of visible spectrum and the infrared. So these are attributed to changes in electronic configuration. This is very important point, and this requires no medium, because those are electromagnetic waves. And this is very important thought to be put in, that is, in absence of an intervening medium, there is net heat transfer by radiation only between two surfaces which are at different temperatures. Then radiation occurs most efficiently through vacuum, and if we have some intervening medium between two surfaces which is so we have air or we have some liquid, then the extent of radiation heat transfer will be reduced. So the radiation emitted by surface is thermal energy bounded by the surface of the bodies, and the released energy is said as surface emissive power. The emissive power definition is watts. The units are watts per meter square. So it is per unit area also, and it's given by Stefan-Boltzmann law, which states that the black body emissive power is directly proportional to the surface temperature power 4, and this surface temperature is the absolute temperature of the surface. And black body has the maximum E, that is, black body emissive power is the maximum and the upper limit to thermal radiation, and sigma is Stefan-Boltzmann constant, whose value is constant universally 5.67 into 10 raised to minus 8 watts per meter square, Kelvin raised to power 4, and this is temperature in Kelvin raised to 4. For real bodies, we have the emissive power is equal to some constant emissivity into the black body emissive power, and this emissivity will obviously be between 0 to 1, and that is the radiative property and said as emissivity, and it is the ratio of real body emissive power divided by the black body emissive power at the same temperatures. And we have absorption power, which is G, which is said as irradiation, and for real bodies it depends on absorptivity, whose value is between 0 to 1. The introduction ends over here. Thank you.